What's up, everybody? Today is March 11th, 2019. My name is Derek, and in this video, I'll be talking to you once again about how the mainstream media is using the occulted practice of Gematria to code its mainstream news headlines. And today, we got breaking news letting us know that the Democratic National Convention will be hosted in Milwaukee in the year 2020. And if you're familiar with my work, you probably know by now that I live in Milwaukee, so for our city to be front and center in the national media like this, pretty uncommon. We wouldn't expect a national convention to be here, but I'm going to explain to you at least a huge reason they picked Milwaukee for this convention in 2020, and a lot of it has to do with the numbers. So first of all, let's just take a brief look at the language of Gematria. What you're looking at the screen here are the 4 base ciphers you'll see when you first come to gematrinator.com. These ciphers are very simple. We start with the alphabetic order, which numbers each letter 1 through 26 relative to its position in the alphabet. The reduction methods then use the rules of numerology to reduce each double-digit number to a single digit before adding it to the equation. These methods can then be reversed. We call it reverse ordinal and reverse full reduction, where you simply flip the alphabet around. Z is 1 and A is 26. This language is used in accordance with dates on the calendar, date numerologies, and date durations. So let's jump into this and see how it works. First of all, today, March 11th, 2019. Today has what we call full numerology of 53. I believe this to be the primary date numerology of any date on the calendar. Using the reverse reduction method, the city of Milwaukee has a value of 53 as well. We're going to be talking about how this announcement lines up with the mayor of Milwaukee, Tom Barrett. He's been the mayor for almost 15 years now here in the city of Milwaukee. And wouldn't you know, Tom Barrett born in the year 53. In this study of numerology, it's important to understand the significance of prime numbers. The number 53 is a prime number. It's the 16th prime number. Think about how Super Bowl 53 had 16 points scored in it this year. Well, anyway, in that same method, Democratic National Convention sums to 160. Now, in numerology, this represents the number 16 since zeros can be ignored. If you measure from the date that Tom Barrett took office on April 15th of 2004, we find that he's been in office for 777 weeks. And as I commonly discuss, this is a number involved with numeric ritual. In our Jewish Gematria cipher, which is based on the Latin alphabet, numeric ritual equals 777. This is also the gematria of the Masonic phrase, order out of chaos, 777. So let's see how the numerology of the city of Milwaukee lines up with today's announcement. If you read up on Milwaukee and the history of this interesting city, you'll find that we were incorporated on January 31st of 1846. This means the city of Milwaukee is 173 years old. Now, what's really interesting about this is that 173 is also a prime number. It's the 40th prime number. And not only is Milwaukee 173 years, but it's also 40 days old. 173 years and 40 days. The date on which the convention will begin, July 13th, 2020, this has standard numerology of 40. Now, I put this method up on the screen earlier. The English extended method is actually structured more closely to Hebrew Gematria and Greek isopsephy. Well, when you use this method and type out Democratic National Convention, look at this. You get 1703, like the number 173, the 40th prime number. These numbers appearing in the age of the city of Milwaukee. The other thing I discuss on this channel is the significance of total solar eclipses. In fact, that's what a lot of my work is centered around. And we find that major news stories almost all the time have significant alignments with solar eclipses and the language of Gematria. This holds true with today's story about Milwaukee, Wisconsin being the host of the DNC. In reduction, Milwaukee, Wisconsin has a value of 81. And if you measure from the most recent total solar eclipse, which to this date was still the Great American Eclipse, back on August 21st of 2017, we get exactly 81 weeks. This same duration is also 1 year, 202 days. And why does this stand out? Well, 202 is the ordinal gematria of total solar eclipse. Using the alphabetic order, the simplest cipher, we get a value of 202. Now the 202nd prime number, which I hope I've established are significant by now, is 1231. And not only will this be the 2020 convention, 2020 a lot like the number 22 and 202, in Jewish gematria, the state of Wisconsin sums to 1231, the 202nd prime number, again fitting in with the most recent eclipse. In English extended, total eclipse sums to 713. This is a significant number. It's the 11th time times the 9th prime. Saturn equals 713 in Hebrew. The date that the convention will begin will be July 13th, like 7/13. I'm going to crack open another cipher. This is the prime number cipher. Again, we're just using the alphabetic order 1 through 26, but using associated prime numbers. So every number in this cipher is only divisible by 1 and itself. And using this prime number cipher, what do you know? Milwaukee, Wisconsin equals 713, just like the date that the 2020 DNC will begin. So we saw the 713 in English. Well, in reverse reduction, total eclipse equals 70. Not only is today the 70th day of the year, March 11th, but if you measure from the day's announcement to the start of the DNC, it's exactly 70 weeks away. Also, the DNC will begin 125 days and 1 year after the date. And using the alphabetic order, Wisconsin equals 125. So you can see how these ordinal and reduction methods are certainly, among the most significant. And then we'll tap into the Jewish and English extended occasionally. But here's another very significant alignment for this announcement. Today has what we call standard numerology of 33. This is essentially the same as full numerology, but we don't add the 20, since most frequently people just refer to the year as 19. Well, 3 plus 11 plus 19 equals 33. The mayor of Milwaukee, Tom Barrett, born on December 8th. This means he's exactly 3 months and 3 days after his birthday. And I'm very, very consistent in this with my work. I always say it's the birthday and the date that they took office that are the most significant. If we instead measure to the date that Mayor Barrett took office, we find that today is 330 days after the anniversary on April 15th. So he's 3 months, 3 days after his birthday, been in office for 330 days since the anniversary on a date with 33 numerology. Using the standard reduction method, the word eclipse equals 33. And this is certainly no coincidence. Consider that an eclipse is the intersection of the two largest circles in the sky. Circles equal 69, 33, and 120, just like the word eclipse. But in regards to the 33, the 33rd prime number is 137. This is the alphabetic order value of total eclipse, 137. As I've documented extensively, not only in this one post, which I will throw a link for in the chat below here, or in the description, Freemasonry was founded by the numbers of total solar eclipses. In fact, there was one that passed over London shortly before Freemasonry was established in the year 1717. This is supported by the Gematria of ancient accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, which sums to 187 and 227 in the reduction methods. 187 is the reverse value of total eclipse, and in Hebrew, total eclipse equals 227. So I just want to point this out. There's another cipher that uses capital letters called Frank Baconis on my website. And you might recognize this cipher. Some people call it the kindergarten cipher because it's technically the first alphabet that we see when we first go to school. Using this method, Milwaukee, Wisconsin has a value of 448. In the reverse alphabetic order, Democratic National Convention equals 448. So it is a city that has the numbers to host it. Ancient accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, the same phrase that has values of 187 and 227, also sums to 448. So even the announcement, not just the convention itself, but the announcement of the convention, completely coded by the numbers. Special what's up to Chigozi in the chat. Before I wrap this video up, I do want to point this out since a lot of Gematria channels do tap into the organic side of the matrix, right? And we find that as we follow these numbers around and as we start paying attention, these numbers sort of appear in our own lives, and things in our life occur by the same numbers that we're looking at. And long before I ever saw the story about Milwaukee being chosen for the convention this morning, I woke up to a really cold house because my furnace had a little problem overnight. And when I woke up, it was 53 degrees. And this is the temperature it was stuck at for several hours this morning. And I laughed because today has 53 full numerology. And then on the same day, we get a story about the DNC in Milwaukee, which equals 53, the city that I live in. Blown furnace equals 53. Too many things here that aren't coincidences that I just couldn't help but notice. So feel free to check my post out. Here's another one I'll leave in the description below for you guys. I'll put it my organic synchronicity. But all is well now, guys. I am warm once again. All right, guys, so that'll do it. Just a quick little video. Wanted to tap into the numerology that the Democratic National Convention used today in their announcement. And it's painfully obvious, solar eclipses of utmost significance. Whenever we get a major event, we should be measuring to the eclipses, as crazy as it sounds. Certainly appears to be that way. So why not? I figure I'll just jump in the chat. There's not a whole lot of messages here, so the numbers properties tool. Yeah, so here's the problem I'm having, right? I do have to redesign this. When my website came back online after it was taken down for the Sandy Hook copyright claim on January 12th, of course, remember, Sandy Hook equals 112. Ever since my website came back up, I've been having really bad database problems. So how this calculator used to work is that every time you would enter a phrase in here, it would save it to the database, and then you could hit the match, and any phrase with matching numbers would appear down below. Well, the website's not logging those searches anymore because every time there's an interaction with that SQL database, something gets corrupt and my entire website goes down, which doesn't make any sense to me. I can't figure it out. This numbers property page also uses PHP, hence why there's a little query up here in the URL. And this PHP code interacts with my SQL database, and it's the same thing. Every time someone accesses this page, there's an error, and the website goes down. So I can use it by myself, but as soon as we get more than one user on here, it starts causing problems. So what I'm going to have to end up doing is constructing a site that, or a page that can give you the number properties that doesn't use PHP. And it's actually going to be a little bit tricky because, yeah, web developer stuff that I got to worry about. I'm all figuring out as I go, you know? Connection between Catholic and Scottish. Well, of course, it's the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, headquartered in Washington, D.C., running things. And then you have the Catholic Church. Their agenda certainly intertwined with Freemasonry. I mean, the fact that both sum to 53, well, let me just double check this. I'm not sure where Scottish equals 53, unless you're looking at exceptions, which I don't really use too often. So, Sandra, if you're saying my thermostat was hacked, or my website, someone mentioned to me today that maybe my thermostat was hacked because a lot of people have those internet-connected thermostats. So they thought maybe this 53 synchronicity was like a conspiracy. And it's like, no, I don't have a thermostat that's hooked up to the internet. So this stuff happens just organically, you know? All right, guys, so I'll start brainstorming on a solution for the numbers properties. Again, it's going to be tough for me to deal with. I'm not a real web developer. I just did this so I could spread Gematria. But I'll spend a little time on this this week working on it. So thanks again for that suggestion. I know it's been something that someone has mentioned in every video. All right, everyone, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. All my work is free to share, and everyone's encouraged to do so. Again, this work has been censored, so your subscriptions, the likes, everything helps to spread this knowledge. All right, everyone, peace, love, and God bless. Adios.